Thank you for joining me today. I have an interesting project. I am recovering this chair, but I have to swap the back out of this chair and put it in this chair. So this project is really a mix, match, swap and replace. So let's get on with it. The first thing I'm going to do is remove the base cloth, which looks good enough, so I'll keep it. And then I'll go around and remove the rest of the cover. Not sure if you can see this, but this is absolutely crammed with staples. In fact, all of it is. I'm not sure whether the guy was in a bad mood or got paid per staple he put in, but that is overkill. There's not so much weight behind this, so I'm going to use this. Popping this right underneath here. I'm going to start easing that up all the way around. There we are, right underneath. Move that, have a go at this angle. Get right underneath as far as I can, and then pull it up. It can be slightly bent over, but not totally bent over, and that's why you have to get these out really carefully. I'll go on to the next one, because I want to be able to put them back in if I possibly can. Not too bad, so I've got to be really careful not to lose anything. There we go. I'm going to work my way all the way around the chair. I now have the seat and the back, which I'm going to use as templates on the fabric. And here I have the piping, which I'm going to save and reuse that. So I am trying to upcycle a little bit here. Despite it being crushed velvet, most of the pile seems to go this way, and it's very disturbing to my fingers when I go up the other way. Side to side it's about the same. So that's down. This is the seat. I'm going to pop this over, and I'm going to cut a large square out, and then I'll do the same for the back of this chair. I'll just line it up and then cut it out. There is a little bit of Dacron on here, so I'm not going to replace it. I'll just leave that as it is. Pull this down to the front so that the selvage comes underneath a little ways, and then to make sure that both of the sides come over evenly like that, and then pop this underneath there and across the back. Once I've got that positioned, I'm going to bring this one round at an angle like that. I'm going to just cut in at an angle like this towards that back leg, not all the way up, so I can start pushing that under there, and I'll do the same on this side. The foam is quite awkward to push this against actually, and now I'll do the same on this corner here. Straight into the corner, finish about half an inch away. I really don't want to go too close. I'd much rather take that in little pieces as I get there. Also, you don't want to cut it too close, just in case you cut it in at the wrong angle, because fabric is often changing as you go into these corners. So I'm going to pull this down. I want it to be quite even on either side. And then over here so that it's equal. I don't want to go any further because I'm going to start pulling this into shape, and I might have to remove these two in order to pull the fabric round, and same on this side when I get there. I'm going to come into the center here, pull it down and into place like that. Make my way to the front, pulling it down as I go. Although at the moment I'm just pulling it down rather than to the front. I'm going to have to probably adjust that, because that's already got a ripple in. So I'm going to work it in, and then here. I need to cut this little part to make sure it fits round. Because of the angle of the foam there, it's a little bit steep to come in. So let's do that. I think I might need to cut that a little bit further, just like that. I'm going to work towards the back, just pulling it straight down but slightly across the back to the back. I'm going to come in here, cut up here a little ways, make sure I can fold that in and cut that corner out. Bring this down. Now I am actually bringing it slightly forward because I want to get rid of some of this fabric. Pop that in there, and the same here, just pull that down. When I pull the corners in, I try to line the outside of the corner up before I secure it, because I want to make sure that this line here is as close as I can get it to the front edge. Pop that down there. Before I start anything else, I'm going to cut this back and along. If I get anything wrong, it's really not a major thing because I do have banding going across here. What I do want to do is push that up, pull that down and secure. I've put that within 1/4 of an inch. The previous ones were right down on the bottom edge there, and that's a really silly place to put them because you can, when you're removing them, ruin the wood that goes around. Bring this one down. I'm going to pull it in really tight and up to there. Put a nice corner in at the top and pull it down really hard. And again, secure it along there. Cut in to the top of the leg, fold that under, pull it hard down across the front here and secure. Pull that down and secure it across here, little ways up, and I'll cut that back. I can adjust that. I can take those out and cut it back if I need to. Looks like I just have to take out maybe one and pull that in. I think that will work. And then I'll get on the other side. Again, I've pulled the back as much as I can into the back. I'm going to start again in the center like this. Pull it and secure it. And move my way to the front. I'm pulling it down this way because the top of this is curved. So if I pull it forward, then I'm going to end up with things not going according to plan. Whereas if I pull it down, it will automatically come in slightly with the curvature from the top of the chair. Twist that underneath like that. Pull it hard underneath here and secure it. And pull this down and into place. I don't want it too far forward. It's a little bit high, but the band is quite wide, so I might drop that in a minute. I will cut that and down, then up, not too far, and work it out, and then cut back here as well. And I'll just work that in like I did the other side. I have a major problem on the back here. This is shy about an inch, so I'm going to find a piece of foam that I can pop in there and bring round to the side here, so that although there's not quite so much of a gap on here, it will help keep it in place. Otherwise this is not going to work very well. I've managed to get the piece of foam in, and the original Dacron comes all the way over the front, so that's filled that hole in nicely. What I'm going to do now is pull this back and forward until I've got where I think the corner is, and I'm going to cut down the leg of the chair, not too close because I want to be able to fold that under on this side and on this side. But I think if I slightly alter that, put a little bit more filler into here, that should work. I'm going to just cut straight across there. This still comes to the outside of the leg here. There's plenty of fabric there. I'm going to take this one to the middle of the back leg because it's quite wide. Let's see how that goes. There's a little bit of rippling there which I don't like. I think I need to put a little bit more filler in here. Sometimes if you can get something a little bit higher so it crunches down, it will work better. Into there, and that will also pop down behind that foam and hold it into position a bit better, I think. It sometimes takes 2 or 3 goes, so don't rush this part. Rippling here, so I'm going to have to rework the side of this. I think I want to pull this a little bit further to the back. I had to put a couple of staples in the back, so I'm going to take those out, rework them, and then I'll work the side in. So I've filled with loose packing all the way across here. I've cut a little cut in here so that it can fold better, and I am just bringing this down into position along here with a little bit of persuasion like that, and the fact that I'm pushing it that way, I'll be able to get that in. So I'm going to secure this under here. You can see this rippling. All I'm going to do is I'm going to undo up to about the center and make sure that this pulls in and the rippling is taken out. I'm kind of pulling it down. When I get to this point, just pulling it back slightly, and it should twist everything into place. It really is a case of playing with the fabric until you've got it where you want it. I actually had to take it all the way back to here to twist it into place, and I had to rework the back corner. I'm not worried too much about the little bit of rippling that's going on. Part of it is the way the fabric is, where it's been crushed. It is actually quite uneven on the back. But also there's going to be a band going along here that will hide anything and distract from what's going on. Now this one had an even bigger gap at the back here that I've had to fill in, and it also came along the back side here. What I'm going to do is I've cut everything back. I've got a little cut there as well. Fold all of that underneath and then pull it in. The trick here is to fold it and pull it back as hard as you can into that corner so that it follows the chair leg down. I'm going to pull this in hard like that, and then I'll take these out and just pull this into position to give it a better look, and then the seat is done. Now usually I put Dacron on, but the velvet has quite a rough back on it, so I'm going to put calico on so that nothing gets caught, and it should go on a lot easier. Even this is getting caught up. I've got this in line. I'm going to pull that across ways like that and cut into the inside arm, not too close, and I'll do that on both sides because I want to be able to adjust it if need be, and that could be pulling it to the back or round to the side. In the center here, I'm just going to pull that up so that this is hidden. The selvage is just over the top. I don't need to be right up on top here, and I'm going to just put a couple of staples in across here and then pull it in from the top. Centered that there so it comes around evenly, and I'm going to just push the fabric from the front all the way to the top and really pull it into place. I want that as tight as I can possibly make it, then secure it across here, just in a couple of places. I'm going to pull that slightly down and tuck it underneath the foam that is here, because the original cover was underneath there, like that. Then this comes in, and I need to cut a little bit further into the corner. This piece here is going to fold back underneath, and then this piece is going to fold up. I really need that as close into that corner as possible, and it's not there, because if I pull this around, it's nowhere to be seen there. Okay, so there's my corner, and I need to just cut in a little bit more because I'm going to make sure, like I did with the others on the seat, that it all fits around. I don't want all this fabric here. Here's the base of the back, and I'm going to cut off in a line across here to there. Makes it a little bit easier. And then fold that up like that, and then pull that back. I don't think it's going to work. No, you see, it does that. I don't want that to happen. I've got it so that although it will pull back slightly, it doesn't make that horrible difference. So I think what I'm going to do is, in the fold, as I fold that fabric up, I'm going to put a little bit of filler into that corner just to soften the fabric as it comes around, and it should come all the way around to the corner here. And I'm going to get this side in first. On the corner, I'm going to just cut down a little ways, not too far, like that, so that either that piece of fabric can spread out or fold in on itself. I'm going to roll that up just a little bit on the side here and bring it in at the back and up slightly. I'm going to put a little bit of a pleat in, or a ripple at the base there, just to hold it. And again here. Now I'm not going to pull on the calico because I don't want anything to happen there. I think what I'll do is I'll come in here and work my way down until I've got all of that in. The chair does curve slightly. It should be nice and even. Along the back here, all I'm doing is I'm going to cut some of this out because I don't want it to be too bulky under there, like that. And then line it up with the inside of the chair leg there and up. Just pull it all the way up as you go into the centre. You might need to alter the centre, but you shouldn't need to if you've pulled it in securely to start off with. Again, on this side I'm just going to cut in, so that should come level with the leg there, and then out to the side and tuck that up underneath there so it's out of the way. Again, work my way into the corner here, not too close because I'm going to alter it as I get there, but just enough for that to fold under there and that to come round. I'm going to cut the bottom a couple of inches off. Having reworked the corner in here, I'm going to take out just a little bit more of this fabric here because it's a little bit deep, like that. Pull it across to here and cut down a little bit like that, not too much because I do need to be able to roll it, and then I'm going to fill it up with filler and then pull it in like I did on the other inside back. Pull it as tight as you can around the side, a little ways up. I seem to have put it in slightly squiffy, but it'll be fine as long as it goes around. That's all that matters. And I'll just bring it in and work it into the base here with little ripples. I don't want big ones, I just want little ones. there is a little bit of shaping at the bottom, but that's fine. And now bring this in under here. I'm not able to fold that. I must have cut that quite badly back, but never mind. It'll be fine. I'm going to pull this out and pull it this way to hide that, and then I will be able to finish hiding it with the piping that goes along the back. So that's fine. Perfectly okay. And it is folded from the front, it just doesn't fold all the way to the back. That's all that's wrong. Although I did pull it over slightly, it didn't fill it right in. It's only 1/4 inch difference. And I'd much rather let you know that I do mess up occasionally. There are usually only little mess ups, but I am capable of doing it. And as I say, it's all folded underneath until about 1/4 inch back. It's almost there, and that's fine. Seeing as this side is the side that's a little bit short on fabric, there's enough to go around. I'm really not that worried about it. I will, however, put it in first. So I'm going to pull that up like that and into place and secure it. I'm going to cut down and around, pull it down so you can see where the top there is, and along here in a straight line. And then here I'm going to put little cuts up all the way across here like that to there, and the same down here, only not too big because I need to work those ones out a little bit better. I'm going to pull this so it comes in and across, and I will rework this little section in a minute when I get there. Often you need to put little pleats in. I'm going to take that one out. Because this is going over the calico, it slides better than it would have been done on the original foam that's under there. I'm going to put a couple of staples here. I'm going to replace the staple that I took out of here and then pull these in slightly. There's a little bit of rippling, but that's really part and parcel of the way the fabric goes. I can alter that in a minute. And now I'm going to bring this fabric in and around. I will start cutting in like I did at the top there to ease it into place so that that opens up, and I'll just work this corner in and also down to where this is. If I'm careful, I'll be able to alter it and there won't be any rippling here. I'm going to secure that here. I'm going to bring that up into here. I'm going to bring this around a little bit so there's a pleat on the back, and then I'm going to put a pleat on the end here. I just got to work the pleat in so that it looks neat and tidy. I'll pull that into place here. If it's not pulled in tight, the pleat won't go in nicely, so just be aware of that. Here we go, here's our first pleat here. Make sure all of that is out of the way, and then bring this pleat into position as well. So as I come in, this actually wants to come down, so I'm going to pull that in there, making sure that that's all free, and then this top pleat here, and then I'm going to bring this fabric down and into place. Along here, I'm going to cut a couple more lengths in so that that splays out better. I can see that I can almost take it to there without actually going over the edge. I must not go over the edge. Pull that up and round. And I'm not pulling the calico, I'm just pulling the fabric on the back. I'm going to make my way down and make sure that all of that has gone in smoothly. Sometimes by putting extra clips in, you can get it to go in better. Just be careful. This is quite a firm fabric, so it doesn't have that much give in it. And it also has wrinkles and ripples, so I'm not expecting a great finish on part of it. I think that will work. Now I'll do this side exactly the same way. Next thing I'm going to do is put the bottom cloth back on as neatly as I possibly can. When you reuse this, it sometimes goes in squiffy. And go either side. It's slightly bowed, so I have to be very careful about how I'm going to put this in. I think that looks about even, so I'm just going to take time to get that on and make it look neat. Here is the velvet, and I'm going to cut 4 lengths to start off with at 2 inches for the piping, and I'm doing it on the diagonal so that it's easier to go around any of the awkward areas without needing to be too cut into. I'm going from the top of the fabric to the bottom so that the pile of the fabric is the same on all parts of the piping. This is the top, and I'm going down to the bottom like that, and then I'm going to put the top of the next piece on like that, and I'm going to sew from this corner where it crosses over to the bottom here on a small stitch length. So flip that one over and add the next piece on just as I have at right angles. Because I'm upcycling a bit, I know that this will fit around the back of the chair, so I'm going to just pop that under here like that, raw edges together, and I'm going to make my way all the way to the bottom. I cut one from the other, and I've also cut back on this seam. It's quite a thin seam. You don't want a thick seam if you've got a thick fabric, so try to bear that in mind. Make sure that that's open still, and I'm going to sew across there like I have, and I'll make my way all the way to the bottom. I'm going to err on the cautious side because I'm reusing this. I know it goes around the back, but because I am taking the back of the other chair off, I'm not sure how much extra fabric there is in it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the outside of the piping along the outside of the edge there. Now sometimes I do it that the sewing line that's on there, but I'm bringing it up so that I know that I'm using less, even if it's only an inch less piping all the way around, that'll be fine. And I'm going to make my way to the end here. Just make sure that that is level with the base of that. I'm going to come into the corner and I'm going to make as sharp a turn as I possibly can up. And then up all the way along the side here. I'm running the outside of the piping along the outside edge of the chair. And I'll do that all the way around this shaping. I know this isn't going to come round with a really sharp corner, which is fine, it's because it's so thick. I'll make it as sharp as I can. Bring this in to where I started, and I've actually cut this so it's nice and finished. I'm going to take that there and open this up a little ways, and making sure that the piping butts up quite close to, it doesn't have to be on there because it is quite thick fabric. I'll take that back just a wee tad there. So I'm going to take that piece off and I'm going to fold that back into there and slide that underneath like that. I think I need to take a little bit more off there. It doesn't have to be very much. Fold that under and encase that. I think that looks about right. And I'm going to staple here and along here so it's in there quite tightly. I've got the 1/2 inch staples in with this running along the sew line of the piping. And I'm just going to pop this in here like this and there. And then all the way up and around. In order to get it relatively straight, I go up a few and then come and fill the middle ones in. I'm going to do this all the way up around here to the other side and then just fill in the center here. I'm going to do exactly the same way as is on the other chair. Push this almost down where it actually does touch the top of the piping here. I'm going to do this all the way around this chair back. And then I can do the swap part. This is the back of the other chair, which I'm taking off. I'm going to have to be really, really careful with this because I can't ruin the leather and I don't want to ruin the aluminium back tacking underneath. So I'm going to very carefully ease this all up, all the way around, so that I can take it off and reuse it. Which is why I actually took the piping back a bit, because if I scratch anything, I can hide it underneath where the new piping is. So I'll just ease it up, then take it off. Now the swap part isn't quite finished because this has a handle on it, which is suspended by a board in the back here. So I'm just going to cut this along here, knot the leather, and there to the end, then on down, flip that up, and I'm just going to go all the way along here, missing the leather again to the other end and down. I'm going to go up as well because I need to take measurements from here so that I know that I'm going to be putting this piece of wood in exactly the same place on the other chair. I've got this. Let's see which one it is. Let's measure the other side. They've put this one in a slightly wonky, so I'm going to even it up and make sure it's 1 3/8 high, which means a little bit higher on this side. That's exactly on that side. So that's what I'm going to do, is to make it 1 3/8. I know that it's a square head screwdriver and I had terrible trouble trying to get these to work. So I ended up putting the square head in first so that I knew it was in place, and then hooking it up to this. But I do have to be very careful not to pull the leather when I'm undoing these or doing them up. There we go, there's that one, because I don't want to ruin anything. This part doesn't take very long. Somebody else did this work for me. All I've got to do is work out how to get it out. And then using this, I cut up here until the glue had been separated and I can take it out. It's always interesting to see what people do. So basically he bolted these on. He'd already pre-drilled the screw holes because they go in at this angle, and then he applied it. I've marked down from the top here to here, which is 1 3/8. I'm going to line that up like this to the top of there, and I'm going to just staple it across. Then I'm going to bring it to this side, line it up and staple it here too. It's not going anywhere. And then all I've got to do is screw these back in very carefully, because I really don't want to be messing with the fabric. It's such a bind on that side. And then I'll do exactly the same on this side. I'll put the lower ones in as well. I'm really worried about this fabric because I can't have it twisting in by accident. Staple this into place. Here around the handle I cut around top and bottom, so that it pushes anything down into place, makes a nice finish. Although there's some dacron under there, it's not that much. And then just fill in. I'm going to do the centre top underneath here, and then the centre bottom here is a little bit long, so I'm going to start putting it in and then deciding where I need to cut it back to. As long as it goes either side, which it does, I have to remember that this back is stretched slightly, so it's not the same as it was for the other chair, but I think that'll work. And then I'll pull in either side. I'm going to use a bit of fabric so that I can not do any damage to the leather and get that in. The fabric that I'm going to put on will actually show this in here, so I'm going to put this piece of fabric across here. Then this I'm going to put on here. Cut some of this back, it doesn't have to be that long, and fold that over in a straight line. What I'll do is I'll work from this end to the top, and then I'll work either side in. All I did here was folded under 1/4 inch either end and attached the decorative buttons here, and then I'm measuring 1 3/4 inches from the center of each one of these across and attaching them. I'll measure across here and put the next one in, and I'll just carry on around the chair so it all looks nicely finished for my friend. I'm really quite pleased the way this went back in. I was worried about it because obviously it has already been stretched into the shape for the other chair. This is an unusual feature, but for the height of the chairs and the fact you'd always have to be pulling the chair out from the side like this, I think that's quite a good solution to a problem, especially if you've got pale fabric, which is what she has on the other chairs. They're all white velvet, if I remember rightly, or cream velvet. But I'm pleased with that. Thank you for joining me on this project. There wasn't much done to the pink chair because it was just the back that had to be taken out and replaced. The part of the project that was quite interesting was taking the original back out of the pink chair and putting it into this black chair, because I had no idea how it had been done. I kind of thought that might have been the way he had done it, but I wasn't really sure. I'm absolutely thrilled with the way the chairs have turned out, and I'm sure my friend will be too. If you want to hear more from me, please subscribe, hit the bell button, and a few thumbs up would be perfect. And in the meantime, take care. See you later. Ciao.